Hello, and welcome back to another video. If you're looking for recommendations on what manhwa to read, then here are some that I've read recently that might be of interest. Manhwa titles are timestamped in the video for your convenience. Our first manhwa is The Art of Reincarnation, a surprise reincarnation manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 101 on. Its protagonist is Davin Samian, an individual who was born with no right arm and was the subject of ridicule and abuse due to it. Even with all of the challenges and blockades in his way, Davin still accomplished just as much, if not more, than what his family would envision, causing them to betray him and have him meet quite a pitiful end. This wasn't, however, the last of him, as he reincarnates into Vincendentia centuries in the future, with now a god attached to him? How will Davin, now Vincen, approach this new life? Power? Romance? Nah, of course it's revenge. The story is 8 out of 10. There's an air of mystery and a multitude of questions plaguing Vincen about his situation after reincarnating. His ultimate goal, though, provides him a direction, as Vincen now has to start anew in this new body. The steady growth and slowly increasing stakes provide a good pace to the overall manhwa, as I've appreciated its story. The characters are also 8 out of 10. One aspect that helps this pacing is the introduction and development of its multiple characters. They're their own people, but they're shown, of course, from Vincen's perspective the majority of the time. But when the manhwa shows other aspects of the other characters, it always leaves me with questions rather than answers. The art is 10 out of 10. The display of power, aura, and overall action from multiple characters, including Vincen himself, is amazing, I must say. I do understand that it might not be everyone's cup of tea, as one way I would describe it is quite a crazed art style, but I've enjoyed it as it conveys how truly powerful some of these people are. So if you are a fan of the reincarnation manhwa genre, but would like a somewhat slower growth of power for the main character that takes into account his new body and potential abilities while being fueled by revenge, then The Art of Reincarnation should definitely be on your reading list. This next manhwa is The Extra is Too Powerful, a reincarnation manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 50 on. The main character is Tae-sung, an individual who suffered from an accident and has been battling from its repercussions ever since. A fan of the novel The Mage Who Devours the World, abbreviated MDW for simplicity, he ends up being distraught as the ending of the novel is quite grim and selfish for the supposed main character of the story. As Tae-sung falls asleep, he wakes up as Mord, a side character in MDW who is very powerful. As an addition, he also gets a system notification to save the world that the main character is trying to destroy. Will Tae-sung, now Mord, succeed? The story is 7 out of 10. It has a very rough and simple outline from the very beginning, and Mord takes a very step-by-step approach to achieve this end. Honestly, Mord as a character is ridiculously overpowered, and while he is cautious, he also takes all the benefits needed to stay overpowered. The characters are also 7 out of 10. Mord's initial approach of garnering power doesn't just start and end with his own overpowered strength, but also with the prevention of potential allies for the main character of MDW to ever meet each other. If this will benefit or be a detriment, only time will tell. The art is 8 out of 10. The overpowered nature of Mord is displayed in its entirety, but there are also others who display similar prowess. These fights and conflicts allow for a well-needed action between some of these story scenes. So if you're a fan of reincarnation manhwas that have an overpowered main character with a clear mission in the world, then The Extra is Too Powerful is one for you. Also, if you're a fan of Supremely Talented Player and the Max Level Hero Strikes Back from my previous videos, but want a reincarnation baseline instead, then you should definitely read this. Our next manhwa on the list is Fortune Telling Lady, a reincarnation manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 56 on. Its main character is a famous actress by the name of Lee Si-ya. Although a popular actress, she has quite an interesting trait about her. She has the ability to see ghosts. Even weirder is that for the past 20 years, she's been having dreams of a lady as if she was living through that lady's memories. Due to an unfortunate accident though, she dies abruptly one day and wakes up as this lady from her dreams. Turns out, this lady is Camilla Sorfel, and her fate always leads to death if Sia's dreams are to be believed. Resolved to not make that her ending, Sia, now Camilla, begins her new life trying to avoid this fate. The story is 8 out of 10. The mysterious circumstances surrounding Sia's accidental death is eerie, to say the least. Her supernatural abilities following her into this next life as Camilla makes it quite eerie. This, coupled with her knowledge of her impending doom, forces Camilla to take a more active role to prevent her supposed future demise. The characters are 7 out of 10. As part of her plan to hopefully not meet a pitiful end, she tries to ensure that her relationships with those that take part in her tragedy from the dreams are either zero contact or fixed as much as possible if zero contact isn't possible. Of course, the romance portion of the manhwa won't let itself be beat, so there clearly has to be some shakeup here. The art is 7 out of 10. The supernatural nature of the intro initially caught me off guard, maybe even to the point that it took me a couple of times to continue it because of the atmosphere that it presented. Once getting past it though, there hasn't been anything of note that has caught my eye in a negative or positive way yet. So if you're a fan of reincarnation manhwas but want a supernatural and romantic aspects mixed in with it instead, the fortune-telling lady is one for your list. Subscribing to the Transcendent's channel is the next manhwa on our list. It's a modern manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 26 on. Meng Si-woo is the main character of this manhwa. He's an individual who lives by selling information about monsters due to his useless ability that makes him incapable of hunting monsters in this version of Earth. Fate would have other plans as he acquires a mysterious smartphone from a stranger that gave him an apologetic look before disappearing. This encounter would change the course of Si-woo's life as it allows him to become a manager of sorts, for a YouTube for gods to put it simply, and somehow he can learn their skills. The potential is 7 out of 10. The growth of Meng Si-woo after his fateful encounter is immense and seems to be on the trajectory of being overpowered. It might even reach the lengths of the gods. The notion of gods running channels similar to YouTube is an interesting concept by itself and serves to give it some much needed comic relief. The art is 8 out of 10. The gods are based off of people/beings that are regarded in our history as myths, and while I won't spoil necessarily who they are at this point in time, it provides an interesting interpretation of their quote-unquote goal as content creators. So if you're a fan of the modern action genre and want to see the growth of a potential overpowered main character, then subscribing to the Transcendent's channel is a good option, and subscribe here to discuss it in the future. Welcome to the highlight portion of today's video as we look at how one of the manhwas mentioned in the previous video is doing as I've continued reading it. Slight spoiler warning as we will be discussing the events in the manhwa since my previous opinion. Today's highlight is Grand Warlock Streamer, which I've now read up to chapter 108 on. Info card and description will have links to my original opinion. Our protagonist of course is Jung Hyun-woo, and he's busy trying to thwart certain guilds and people from catching up in his progress towards the main quest. A good portion of the entertainment within God Wars is through these conflicts and egging on from different factions, focusing their efforts on Hyunwoo, for positive or for negative. There is clearly more potential to God Wars though than just a game, as we see some potential snippets in why there is such a chase to get to the end of the main quest, as there's clearly a reward linked at the end of it. Hyunwoo's luck is truly insane, and his backers, of course. My previous scores for Grand Warlock Streamer were 8 out of 10 for the story and art, then 9 out of 10 for the characters. Since reading the next 20 some odd chapters, this is my new evaluation. Firstly, the character score goes down from 9 to 8. While I have enjoyed all of Hyunwoo's solo play with his companions, the somewhat repetitive dynamic of roadblock for Hyunwoo only to be broken by luck or influence from his backers doesn't develop anything further than what we've already seen. The story somewhat compensates for this, as the reason for the aggressiveness towards Hyunwoo from certain players is slowly being explained, but there's still an air of mystery to the successful God Wars title, thus bringing the score for the story from 8 to 9. The art goes up by 0.5 to 8.5 as comparing to the early manhwa pages, I'm talking chapters 1 to 20, compared to now is a definite improvement. I sincerely hope they continue refining this style as I look forward to more transformation, changes, and other aspects to Hyunwoo's companions. Go Lucky! I've thoroughly enjoyed my continued reading of Grand Warlock Streamer, and considering I've covered similar manhwa works such as Overgeared and Worn and Torn Newbie, I'd recommend Grand Warlock Streamer for those who've enjoyed the other two for sure. Would you agree, or would you not? Write down in the comment section down below your thoughts on Grand Warlock Streamer. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Write in the comment section down below what manhwa and manga you've been reading, and I might just take a look. Till next time though, have a good read.